Hello and welcome to Africa Online Media Corporation. Yes, it is Africa Online Media Corporation. It is another Sunday. It is another day of the month, another day of the year. We're happy to be with you today. It's been in the upper 70s in Maryland, where I live. And I don't know how it is in your own area, but whatever it is, feel at home, be part of our show, and listen to Africa Online Media Corporation as we discuss today's topic, women CEOs. To start off, we are going to go ahead just straight with our editorial by yours sincerely. We're in the 5th month of the year, yes. So May is the 5th month of the year on the Gregorian calendar and has 31 days. It is named after the Greek goddess Maya and marks the final month of astronomical spring in the Northern Hemisphere. May is known for various holidays and observances like Mother's Day and Memorial Day. Additionally, May is a time associated with blooming flowers and warmer weather, making it a popular month for outdoor activities and gardening, which is my favorite. Today, Sunday, May the 4th day of the month of May, marks the 124th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are 241 days remaining until the end of the year 2025. And did you, like me, notice that there is something when you write down those days or those numbers? Day number 124 in the year, and the remaining days 241. So 124, 241 in the reverse. May the 4th is the 4th day of the month of May, as we said, and the 18th Sunday of 2025 on the 19th week of 2025 using United States Standard Week number calculations. It is the 46th day, yes, it is the 46th day of spring. We've already spent 46 days in spring. We still have 47 days left before we see summer, whatever it is. Just be happy that it will come. It is also, today is also World Laughter Day. Yes. Did you laugh? Did you remember to laugh this morning?
Let me laugh.
Know that it is a holiday, World Laughter Day. It is a holiday annually celebrated on the 1st Sunday of May, and it's a day that attempts to remind people of the importance of laughter in our lives. According to the latest research, laughter really is the best medicine. So whatever you do, no matter how bad you feel about that person or that thing that happened to you, just laugh. It will heal. It is not only, that is, laughter not only increases a person's intake of oxygen, it stimulates a person's heart and lungs and increases the number of endorphins in the brain. It also acts as a stress reliever and helps to soothe tension. So no matter how tense the situation is, please just laugh. Laugh it out and you'll find yourself being relieved. And those are just the short-term effects of laughter. Long-term effects of laughter include better immune system function, a reduction in brain, and an increase in personal satisfaction. Yes, that is it. But today is also the celebration of World Laughter, rather, the celebration of World Laughter Day is also a positive manifestation for world peace. Yeah, really? Yes, it's a day for world peace, to maintain and sustain world peace, because it builds up a global consciousness of brotherhood and friendship through laughter. So please always remember that laughter is more than just something you do. The first World Laughter Day was actually in India on January 11, 1998. That's quite some time ago. It was in the city of Mumbai in India in 1998. Today, May 4th is also Anti-Bullying Day. Yes, bullying, you know, one of those things You say
oh,
you are
yes.
me, so you try to bully me, you try to make me feel petite or small because you think you are better than I am. Well, it is a vibrant call to action, inviting everyone to stand against bullying in all its forms. Celebrated on this day as designated by the United Nations, the international organization, this day, World Anti-Bullying Day, unites schools and communities worldwide and encourages people to defend and support those affected by bullying, thereby promoting a culture of respect and kindness across diverse groups, irrespective of race, gender, or age. But that's not all about May the 4th. May the 4th is also International Firefighters Day. Yes, an international day for appreciation and recognition for the brave men and women who risk their lives almost every day to protect communities from the dangers of fire. Fire helps us cook our food, but it also can be very disastrous, especially in these United States where we hear of fires every day, everywhere across the country. Today serves as an opportunity for everyone to show respect and gratitude to firefighters whose work is of great importance. It's so invaluable that we always try to make sure that we have firefighters in our communities. I may not know of any female firefighter per se, but as our topic states today, we give a shout out to women chief executive officers. That is the topic for today. Women chief executive officers or women CEOs. That is, women who have given their all to the businesses or trades that they pursue. Women who have shattered the glass ceiling, even when not respected or recognized, because some of us, especially the men, think that it is a man's world. Women CEOs, until very recently, have been few and far between, but that is changing slowly but surely. Many countries in the world, including these United States of America, have seen and are seeing women occupy leadership positions. And even before Kamala Harris became United States Vice President 4 years ago, the number of women CEOs was increasingly becoming something to talk about and to write home about. Of course, not negatively, but rather positively, as the women progressively made inroads into the male-dominated business and political arena. HR practices and business organizational charts may portray the world as masculine, but the woman CEO is progressively becoming the talk of the day, a reality and a common sight in both rooms. A comprehensive report by Women CEOs in America 2024, presented by the Women Business Collaborative, shows that women's representation in Fortune 500 companies remains at 10.4%, with 52 women CEOs in 2024, up from 41 in 2021. And on that note, I'm going to turn to the CEO of AfricaOnline Media Corporation. She's a CEO by her own right, Her Highness Reverend Dr. Pam Fomunu, to welcome us to today's discussion, Women CEO. Welcome to the discussion.
Thank you so much, Nia Song. I never get tired of listening to your editorials. And thank you for all you do and for your respect for women. I've worked with you now for 9 years and never once have you disrespected me, and I appreciate it. There are a lot of men, and I call them boys because they are very fragile egos. They cannot handle a woman in charge, and that reflects on them. A secured man like yourself will work with a woman and not worry about gender. So thank you so much. On behalf of AfricaOnline Media Corporation, I want to welcome all our viewers from around the globe, those who are going to watch on YouTube and Facebook. And I want to especially acknowledge the two sister Deborahs who are our regulars on this program. And our sister, Elizabeth Biscof, which is zooming in from Bahrain, she's been on this program before. I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago when we're discussing women in trade in Africa. So I just informed her about this program, and she joining us. She's a CEO in her own right. So I would like to give her the mic to introduce herself for those who are not familiar with her, so that I don't do her any injustice. Sister Elizabeth, you are very welcome. Kindly unmute yourself and introduce yourself. If it's possible, I know I gave you short notice. If it's possible, you can show your face. If not, no problem. But the mic is yours.
Sister Elizabeth, you are welcome to the show. Thank you very much. Please take over.
There she goes.
Yeah, there she goes. Thank you very much.
So the mic is yours, my beautiful
I like that smile. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Today is World Laughter Day. So
yeah, World Laughter Day. Oh my God.
Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Yeah, good to meet you all, and thank you very much for that kind introduction, my sister. I'm very, very humbled and very delighted to meet you all. Thank you, our brother, with the nice overview of great statements and proclamations. So I'm greeting you all from the Kingdom of Bahrain. I'm based here, trying to set up my company here and expanding into the Middle East. I am the co-founder of a food processing company that is based in Kenya, in outskirts of Nairobi. I started the company almost 15 years ago because I saw a need to come back to Kenya to continue with the legacy of my family. I was born and raised in a very successful farming community in the northeastern part of Kenya. In the 90s, I was very fortunate to go to the US as an exchange student, and I had contact with Mexican students, and every Friday we used to have a potluck dinner. And the Mexicans were very impressive in the sense that they could present very interesting meals and dishes. And I didn't know quite what I could present coming from Kenya, because our dishes and cuisine was not as really presentable as I would have liked. But over the years, really, I came back to Kenya after living in Switzerland for 25 years. And I came back and established, I would say, one of the first tortilla making company. And I innovated it in the sense that I integrated our local nutritious foods and I would say grains. So I developed tortillas that from sweet potatoes, arrowroots, millet, because I was really keen to promote our local foods and items. In 2019, my products were presented to Fodex Africa. I won 2 prestigious awards, one for the best snack of the year and second one for best food ingredient innovation. Because at that time, the world organizations had done a study on nutritious foods as well as foods that are good for the planet. And they identified top 50 foods. If you Google top 50 foods, actually about 10 are the major African indigenous crops. So we were one of the companies that had the top 5. And that's how we really were recognized for these 2 awards. So currently I am trying to set up an expansion into the Middle East based in Bahrain. We have already started doing trials. Really, my aspiration is the commercialization of our African indigenous crops, Because when you look at today's food value chain, wheat-based products are very popular, be it burgers, be it pastas, whatever it is. And these are foods that are currently now deemed to strain the environment. But in any case, this is what I do. I also do independent consultancy, supporting companies that are expanding. My last job was with Aramco, Saudi Arabia. I was working for the oil corporation as a consultant on new business development and organization design. So I have quite a good connection to the Middle East. So if any of you are very keen to discover this region, is an amazing region with a lot of potential. I think that is a natural neighbor to Africa, and that is where we could actually consider to grow and support our region to grow into this region. So I will stop there and thank you again. I hope that we could, as the time goes, I will be happy to share more of my insights and my thoughts. So thank you, my sister. I know, about the Africa Brain Bank. I'm very delighted about that, and congratulations all for this amazing networking and platforms to encourage, to empower, and to enable one another to succeed in a way that is going to benefit our continent. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Elizabeth. Thank you so much. Niason, the mic is yours.
Yes, I wanted to know, thank you, sister, for coming to the show today. I wanted to find out what prompted you to move to the Middle East rather than to, say, Europe or to Africa or to North America.
Thank you, brother. This kind of came naturally because when I was working for Saudi Oil Corporation, I really discovered that this region was amazingly potential for us. Because when you see all the products coming to this region, especially African products, they're coming via other regions. For example, the Kenya's tea, Kenya is a leading producer of tea. And there's a company called Global Tea, which is based out of the UK. But it's actually the biggest buyer of Kenya's tea is the Middle East. Saudi Arabia consumes 19 million cups daily. Wow. And this really, because you see, people don't, even Kenya's coffee or East African coffee, it goes via Italy or it goes via Australia. So I realized actually that we were sitting next to a huge market, and everybody absolutely does not want that Africa interacts directly with this region because it's huge business. And also Middle East, for me, it's less stringent. When you want to export anything to the USA, there are all sorts of demands that just completely disqualifies and makes it very difficult to export directly. That's why most of the time, our products goes via other places because they can meet those demands. For instance, ISO certification or HANCCP certification, or all sorts of things that are pulled to make it almost impossible to go to this region directly from Africa. So I felt really this is our natural neighbor. It's easier for us to export to the Middle East directly and get the most, or at least fair compensation for our products. Yeah, so this is the reason, because really it's a huge market and much more easier market for us to penetrate. That's why I decided to go to the Middle East, because Europe is just, or USA, for instance. Of course, I would love to come to this region, but the demands, the requirements are just too stringent.
But how much influence do things like culture and religion have on such a potential market?
I mean, I believe that anywhere the Arabs know what they want. This is one thing. And if you're respectful and mindful of their culture, way of life, you are good. So this is one, and I think generally this is basically a recipe for success. You have to be respectful. You have to be mindful. You have to adhere to their rules and requirements, which was not difficult for me because I grew up in a traditional environment as an African village girl. There were requirements, there were rules, it was not different because you know the relationship between men and women was very close to how I was brought up. So I think there's a lot of fear to make people not discover this region. It's an amazing culture, which in my opinion is not too different from Africa's way of life. So yeah, this is where I think that anywhere you go and you fit and you adhere to their way of life, it's adapting and fitting, you can really succeed very well in the Middle East.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
And you brought my mind to Facing Mount Kenya by Jomo Kenyatta and Ngugi wa Thiong'o's Weep Not Child. So please, those things link me up to Kenya and to what you are talking about being in the Middle East. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Question?
Yeah, thank you so much, my sister. It also takes courage for an African village girl from Kenya to head over to the Middle East, even with all the false information or inaccurate information about it online. And you also spent 25 years in Switzerland. Did you have any business in Switzerland, or you just studied, or you just worked?
Actually, when I did my master's in the US, I was very fortunate to be recruited by General Motors under their graduate programs. So at that time, General Motors was building its international operations. And of course, they were looking at Africa. So I was hired in the Zurich office, their global headquarters. So I was very fortunate to work and privileged to work with General Motors for 15 years in Zurich. And then I also worked for other companies. I think you might be familiar with ECHO. ECHO is the agricultural company, American company, is one of the largest in the world in the manufacture of agricultural equipment. I was fortunate to be sent to open the Cape Town, Africa and Middle East office, where I was really quite, you know, I had the opportunity to interact and work with a lot of companies and organizations within our continent. So yeah.
Certainly,
yeah. Go ahead, Nelson.
Yeah. Certainly there are challenges that you face along the way. Can you let us into some of those challenges and what you think you did to overcome the challenges and what you are doing going forward?
As a CEO, as a woman CEO.
As a CEO, that's right, that's right.
Yeah. Well, I think, to be honest, I think that the challenges that I've obviously had, I think that they still believe that women cannot really do it, you know?
That's right, that's right.
Because I think it's a question of experience and because there are a couple of things. Operating in an international environment like Bahrain at the moment, I'm dealing with two things. I'm woman and Black.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. Yes.
So first of all, the color comes until people experience what I'm capable of doing.
Yes.
So, and most of the time, like when I go to visit, I went to Carrefour. Carrefour is one of the largest retailers in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
And I was carrying my computer and I was carrying my, my samples. And one of the directors said, "Oh, you can put the computer there. Where is your madam?" You know? They did not believe that I am the madam.
That's right.
Yes.
You know, what she's saying is so true because I've been operating in the global hemisphere since 2003. I'll give you examples without calling names. Not only do they don't believe, some men don't believe that a woman can do it. Some of them, the men know that we can do it, but they feel threatened by us. And some men cannot. They cannot handle a woman in charge. They have to be in charge, even if they are not half as smart as you are. And sometimes some of the men, they try to dilute your work to make them feel better, but that's all on them, because it only takes a man with low self-esteem, low self-worth, to feel they have to diminish the worth of a woman to feel better. I'll give you an example. In 2003, we had 2009, we had a major launch in Abuja, Nigeria. We had all the chief medical directors there, all the heads of department there, all the directors from all, at that time there was 32 states in the country. They all came to the National Hospital in Abuja. We presented all this. I was the brains behind that. And if you look at the product we brought, we were trying to help them with counterfeit problems and out of stock syndrome. The out of stock syndrome is where somebody is sick, they actually have the money to buy the medication, they cannot find the medication or find genuine one, and they end up buying counterfeit drugs or drugs sold on the streets or whatever. If you look at the booklet that was made, the event booklet, all the speakers were men except me. And all of their pictures were in the magazine. Mine was not there, but I was the brains behind it. And if you read the content in the magazine, you will know. But for some reason, they could not bring themselves in putting a woman's picture in the same magazine. In 2010, we went to northern Nigeria. I was heading the global medical missions. And when we got there, we went to a place in Borno State called Lassa. It was very, very hot. And apparently the women are not allowed to wear pants. And I had my pants on, and somebody came and told me that, women are not allowed to wear pants. One of the people that were hosting us, I told them, I said, you know what? I don't know how to tie wrapper. I was raised by my father. I grew up not wearing wrapper. I wore pants and suits. And if they don't want me here with my pants, I would take all the medications that I brought with the doctors and the people, and we'll leave and go somewhere else. So nobody said anything about that anymore. So some of them have a problem most of the time in the boardroom, and it's a shame. I don't say this with pride because it should not be that way. I'm either the only Black person there or the only woman in the boardroom. And it is so pathetic, because it's not just coming from the non-African men or non-Black, non-Black men. It is coming from our own African men and from our own Black men. Another example, I took a few of my employees a few years ago to lunch. I used to take them to lunch on Fridays. And as we were waiting to get into this restaurant, a Black guy said, oh, it must feel nice to come out of the cubicle. On Fridays, I allowed my workers, employees, to dress casually on Friday. So on that day, we were all casual. I was not in my suit. I usually wore a suit to work. And when he said that, I didn't even respond. One of my employees turned and said, oh no, she's the CEO. Why would you assume that we were in a cubicle and we're just coming to lunch? So I was there with one of our compliance officer and my executive assistant, who is a dentist today. So people just assume things about women CEO, especially, like you say, when you are a minority or you are Black and then you are African. Some people don't even believe that you are in charge. Another scenario, just a couple of years ago, we're at a huge function in Atlanta. I'm not going to say the name because I'm not trying to embarrass anybody. But this guy brought a book and he was autographing the book to one of the guys on our team before he found out that I was not only the CEO, I was the brains behind it. And he was like, oh, I just thought you were Reverend Pam. I didn't know you were Reverend Pam this, Reverend Pam this. He started listing my accolades. I said, why should I carry my accolades on my sleeves or on my forehead? I say, I prefer to be called Reverend Pam because I am so proud to be an ordained minister of the gospel, but that doesn't mean that's my only qualification. You know, and then now he went and did a whole presentation to give me a book. But it's at least in his own case, he felt bad about it. But that's the assumptions that women face. Many women face that assumption. Another one, even the way people greet, sometimes some men think that they can just greet you anyhow. You don't know me. I have my zone of privacy. I don't want you coming that close. You can shake my hand. And this may sound funny, and I've said it a few years ago on this show. This guy used to run one of the busiest airlines in Africa. I'm not going to say the country. So when we got there, you know, again, as usual, I was the only female there. And he greeted the men. When he came to me, he greeted me and he gave me a peck on my cheek. But it wasn't just the peck. When he pecked me, I felt his saliva on my cheek. I was so offended. I went to the bathroom. I didn't make a scene. I went to the bathroom and I washed that cheek and I had to reapply my makeup. And that evening, I informed the organizer of the event. I said, let him know that was uncalled for. I had to control myself because I would have detonated on him right in the hotel lobby. It was a 5-star hotel. I decided not to do that. I decided to apply self-control. And so this person told him he did not see anything wrong in what he did. And I told this person, I say, if he does not see anything wrong with it and he's been told that that was wrong, you don't know me. What makes you think, like I say, if there was no saliva had touched my cheek, I probably would have not been that offended. But so I just told them, I'm not going to work with this guy because it tells me that this is a kind of guy that does not understand that a woman, you know, should be treated right, even at that level. So I did not work with them, and the deal didn't go through because I was the brains behind it. So people, I'm not saying there are certain lines that you cannot cross. But some people say, oh, just leave it. But if you leave it tomorrow, it will only get worse. Let's say you sign a contract with this guy, you are stuck in a contract, you're doing business with this guy, and he cannot learn from this. Even if he doesn't do it again, he might do it to another woman in the organization. And we know that I will not call it sexual harassment, but I'm saying those type of people are people who are prone to, as perpetrators of sexual harassment or inappropriate behavior or creating hostile work environment for people. Because if somebody tells you that they were offended by this or this is not welcome, even if you don't say anything wrong, you cannot tell somebody how to feel. You know, you need to be able to take corrections and know that it is not acceptable. So just some of those things, like I said, that was the first time that happened to me, and that was the last time I made sure. So there are other things. It's not just people thinking, and even there are situations where you have a colleague who is a man, and you guys are doing a presentation, and they feel inadequate because you are actually shining. You are the ones, you know, answering the questions. You're the one presenting the stuff, and it intimidates them. And these are some of the things that women CEOs face, especially on the global stage. I think we should hear from Debbie. Debbie, you can ask a question or you can share your own experience. Debbie McCormick, then we'll go. Yeah.
If I may
go
just
ahead.
add one more thing, please. What you have said, and I think that we have to accept that we are the pioneers, or we are the people who would have to clear the path for the next line of women.
Exactly.
And I think that we have to be strong, and we have to really, because one of the things that when I worked with General Motors in Switzerland, I was the only Black person in the office for 7 years, until when US started enforcing diversity also not only in gender, but also people of color from the US. Then they started sending African Americans to Switzerland. And I think that people, and it's not only maybe Black women, but women generally across the globe.
Yes.
For the Middle East, for example, it's now that women are starting to come to the workforce. And one of the reasons that they hired me was to support women in the workplace because they were starting to come in. And I think that it's the people, women like you and myself that need to show that we are equally competent. We must be professional, and we may have to bear the bad things that will come with that. Because I have 2 daughters, and I feel that I have the responsibility to demonstrate and to create a better world for them. So I think that some of these things, as women now, I think the world we have the advantage of information. We have the advantage of knowledge, that people now are more exposed to what women can do. Because when I was in the Middle East, I realized that women have power, and people know that, and they are capable, and they are competent. We just need to demonstrate that. And I remember when I was one meeting, after that, everybody was just like, wallahi, wallahi, Allah Kareem, because they expected less from me. But
exactly.
I exceeded. And from then on, they started calling me Sheikha, which is the queen, So so every time when I go into a meeting, they say, Sheikha must start, So I think we have to accept that we have to go through this, but we must be exemplary. It's an effort. It's not going to be easy for us to create the better path for our next generation, I hope. As they say, inshallah.
Hopefully.
You are so right. But before we go on, Sister Ruth, you're welcome. Thank God you're a woman CEO too. Your camera is inverted, Sister Ruth. Yeah, Sister Ruth, adjust your camera. You're okay.
Yeah, why should I adjust that? I think you had called on Debbie before, so.
No, that's why I said before we go to Debbie, I just wanted to add what she's saying is so true, but women should not accept anything that makes them uncomfortable. You speak your mind respectfully without creating a scene, and you call people out the right way and make sure they don't repeat it. If they repeat it, because there are some men that if you point something out to them, they will apologize and say, look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean any harm. But you should not subject yourself. I don't care how much money you're going to make from the deal. Don't subject yourself to anything that will interfere with your dignity or your self-worth. Sister Debbie.
Her Royal Majesty, Her Royal Highness, thank you so much. Ani Asom, thank you. Abaria Subui Dada Elizabeth.
Okay, help us interpret. Elizabeth, you are muted. So Debbie, what is that Arabic or what?
Hausa?
Kabisa.
Oh, that's Kenyan. That's Kenyan language, right?
Okay. Yes, Swahili.
Is that Swahili?
Yes, it's
Swahili.
So what does it mean? What does it mean?
I was just saying hello to my sister in Kiswahili.
Okay.
Greeted back. I am so honored and proud to meet you. I lived in Kenya for almost 8 or 9 years.
Wow.
And actually, I had uji for breakfast and lunch today. And I'm preparing to have ugali for dinner.
Oh.
And I have friends that we meet together on a regular basis to have curry go with tea masala. I actually make it with the real things. I listened to you and I'm so honored and blessed to have met you. For all the things that you mentioned, arrowroot and all of that, I know I used to get it from Westlands, from the supermarket. Now Sarit Center is all dominated by Karifu. And that's where I used to get my arrowroot. So it's not even heavy. Is that one of the things that you're saying it's difficult to import to the US? Because as every Kenyan's home that I go to, they must have those table snacks, but I do not see them in our supermarkets here. Is there any way you can manage to talk to your people in the Middle East so they will allow you to ship some of those snacks to the US?
Absolutely. Actually, but the reason why I'm setting up in Bahrain is because it has a lot of preferential trade treatment from the US, from Europe, because it's kind of a very small neutral country. Also, there's somebody who reached out to me from Texas, and he had a very interesting outlook of what this would mean, because he was telling me, it's very interesting. He said, look, African Americans have been eating the wrong things all these 300 years. And now there's a lot of consequences to that health-wise. And there is actually a Nigerian scientist. He has collected all the medicinal plants from Nigeria. And they are saying they want to actually create the African pharmaceutical kind of platform where Africans can start to go back to the roots. So they reached out to me because they saw that I make tortillas and chips and all this from our indigenous crops. And he said, look, we have free land in Texas. Come and set it up there, and come and process what I'm processing in Kenya. So my sister, it just, that sounds so beautiful to hear from you. I think that it's possible. We are working on that. And I think that it's time, really. I'm also working with a Norwegian group, because one of the things that I realized is we don't have really a cuisine that is associated with Africans at an international level. If you look at here in Kenya, when you say you were in Kenya, most of Kenya's foods are done on roadsides, on dark alleys. But we have the Starbucks, we have the, all the high-end Domino's Pizza or KFC. They're in the best places, and these are the cheapest foods you can think of. When you think of African food, it's not really associated with high-end, classic or, So what we're doing is we're hoping to create the best of Africa cuisine and really serve it in the best places you can think of, because we really need to glorify or to appreciate the importance of our food. Sorry to be long on that, but my sister, that's an amazing question. I think that we're working on it, and we hope that we can have the best tortilla in the world being served in US. In fact, actually, 5 years ago, Unilever reached out to us. They wanted the recipe, and they wanted to pay us quite some money.
No, don't give them, don't sell your recipe.
Yeah, but
that's what happened with KFC.
Yeah, what happened is I said to them, okay, I could give you the recipe, but assure me that you will use Africa's sweet potatoes, Africa's arrowroots, Africa's. They refused. So we said, okay, forget that. So we left them like that, because they just wanted to find out how we were doing it, and they go and do it. But we wanted really the loyalty to Africa's raw material and support Africa's farmers. So hopefully one day my sister will be in the USA and being the best tortilla in North America. God bless you. Thank you.
Well, let me add something to that. Sister Elizabeth is going to be with us in New York. She's one of our panelists on the brain drain. And Sister Elizabeth, I know I didn't get a chance to tell you this, but I did speak with the hotel. They are speaking to the chef to see if he can incorporate some of those dishes you were talking about at our event. But we are going to make sure that your landing in the US is smooth. We are going to make sure of that with our sister organization, Africa's Brain Bank. I think you know that we are capable of doing that. So we'll make sure of that. And I'm glad you mentioned Texas because that's my home. So I like it. The weather is like back home, and Texas land-wise is the largest state in the union, if I'm not mistaken. We have plenty of land there, but whatever we do, we are not going to sell our bet rights. We are going to keep our recipe to ourselves. If they want to partner with us, let them come and partner with us, but we will not sell our recipe. It's not going to happen because they will take it. Look at what happened to palm oil. They came and took palm oil, palm kernel from Cameroon, I'm sure other African countries, making it in Malaysia. And now even the Cameroon is even importing palm oil. Why should that happen? The same thing is happening to Gary, but we are back talking about women CEO and the challenges. But I'm so glad that we live in a globalized economy. And one of the things people need to think about, because some of the people don't do research when they want to expand. When you were talking about the culture and the religion in Bahrain, it's not just Bahrain, it's everywhere, even in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of business people are not culturally intelligent. You have to learn cultural intelligence, especially if you're going, there are some words and some attires and certain things that will offend somebody in the Middle East that will not offend somebody in America, or that will offend somebody in Africa that will not. So these are the kind of, you need to learn their values, their morals, their culture. You need to learn those things to get in there, to fit in there. Okay, like Elizabeth has no problems in Bahrain because she respects their culture. She's culturally intelligent. Besides, she's a sweet citizen. So she's exposed to different culture. And like she said, she grew up in a small community, a farm community in Kenya. So whatever the culture is in Bahrain is not a challenge to her because she can relate to it. But if you want to expand your business, like she's saying, and Sister Elizabeth, we're gonna discuss details of this offline, but during the Ramadan period, they are looking for goats and rams to eat, but there's not enough. How many Africans are growing this, are breeding goats and rams for Ramadan, for the Middle East? That is a business that is very viable. And but how many of the people, even how many people listening to me here will implement that? So we're going to talk about that, Sister Elizabeth, but she's going to be in New York. I want to invite those of you, Debbie, I hope you and your husband are coming, to come to New York. We're going to have some very smart people of African descent there. On Friday night, we have the business session. There are going to be businesses and investors there. It's a target group. It's not a zoo. So everybody you see there is somebody who is either interested in being an investor or expanding their business. So deals get made. And one of our speakers in the summit is an international tax attorney who has worked in more than 153 countries. So if you're talking about doing contracts, international contracts, we got the person. If it's local, we have a couple of volunteer attorneys for Africa's Brain Bank. I will encourage everyone. I'll be putting the link in the chat box. But let's hear from another CEO who wants everybody to eat like a cow, Miss Ruth Presley.
Good afternoon, everyone. I do apologize for being off camera, but I had an event and I'm driving back home. As a CEO of a health company, my heart is towards people eating better, no matter what country they're from or what's available to them. My mission, my goal is to show people how to eat healthier, no matter what the situation may be. And the food that I promote is fruits and veggies, beans and rice, and how that can impact your life positively without breaking the bank. Because oftentimes, because y'all, those who have been on the call before, It's really not a lack of resources, it's a lack of education and knowing where those resources are and knowing how we can feed ourselves better no matter what our economic situation is. As a CEO of a small company, because it's just me, but we have to learn how to support one another. I am an advocate for collaboration. Let's collaborate. What do you have that I may need? What do you have? How can we collaborate to make the world a healthier whole place? Because when you're eating better, you feel better, and when you feel better, you think better. Back to you, madam. Back to
Okay,
you, Her
Niasong, over
Excellency.
to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm very elated hearing everything that I've heard. And I believe that Sister Elizabeth still has a lot to share. Tell us more about what you do, what you are doing, and what you prepare, or what you are prepared to do going forward. Are you asked, well, the question has been asked, thinking of coming to America? Yes, everybody wants to come to America, but nobody wants to stay too long. Because even now, they're beginning to tell you, don't come, don't come, don't come. But whatever it is, how are you picking up the pieces to make sure that you expand worldwide?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that grand question. Because I have, as I mentioned, when I was in the US in the 90s, I was based in Cleveland, Ohio. I was doing my master's at Case Western Reserve University.
Okay.
And I observed a lot of things, and that really inspired me how others have succeeded. And obviously some of the story of my dad that really also inspired me. Now, coming to expanding and growing, I think, like my sister said, one of the challenges that we have as Africans is we don't work in a united way.
That's
because
right.
you cannot succeed alone. In the Middle East, and I think the Asian community in general, like the Indians, they succeed because they are so networked and they're so united. And before an Indian goes to another outside Indians communities, because they have not found anything within their society. In the Middle East, they help one another. In Bahrain alone, Bahraini nationals are only 400,000. The Indians are 500,000. And the rest of the world. Sorry?
I said, are you kidding me? There are more Indians in Bahrain than Bahrain people?
And Bahrainis, absolutely. And they run all the businesses. They are everywhere. And they are so supportive of one another. This is, I think, one of the biggest challenges for Africans. We have never discovered the power of unity, the power of collective effort, the power of economies of scale. We think that by going it alone, we don't, So what I'm doing right now, because I've also suffered myself, because I'm African, and nobody wants that an African knows the way to the Middle East. They still want that things go via Italy. They go via Australia. I was sharing the other day with the Kenyan government. I said, Kenya is one of the leading producers of avocados. The Dutch are very smart. They come and buy for $2 a kilo. They take it via Netherlands. They rename it as Avocado Holland. They bring it back to Bahrain. They take it 8 hours to Holland. They repack, they bring it again back 8 hours to Bahrain, calling it Avocado Holland. You can't believe how much they sell it a kilo. They sell $12 a kilo. So from $2 or even barely $2, and they bring it back to the Middle East. And Kenya to Bahrain is 5 hours, maximum 4.5 hours by flight. This is not acceptable. And what is the problem? Because now it leads us to the brain bank. We have about 7,000 Kenyans in Bahrain. We have all, you know, what stops Kenyans to set up their own platform and bring their own avocados, repack it even as avocado Bahrain or the best of Bahrain, whatever it is, and sell it themselves. Maybe not at $12, maybe at $7 to be competitive. So now, my sisters, I mentioned to you, we need our own platforms. The Indians have their own supermarkets. They have their own distribution value chains. They have their own processing platforms. Africans must do that. And this is one of the things I'm championing now in Bahrain, the African Center. Because when you see even, many other products that are coming from Western Africa, for instance, because the Arabs really like the shea butter for cosmetics, and they bring it from Western Africa for a song, but they sell it for a fortune. Why can't Africans in the Middle East unite and say, we are setting up our own factories, our own processing centers, our own packaging centers, and really be equally competent and even exceed what others are doing? This is what I'm hoping to do. And this is one of the things that we hope that we can unite, because other communities, they are so united. It's only Africans, and we have the resources that everybody wants. I organized Bahrain has very prestigious jewelry show and garden show where they exhibit all plant-based products. I was fortunate to know one of the princesses there. They had invited me to come and speak at the Women Royal University and also present some of Africa's products, including my own products. And the challenge is that even our own representatives in the Middle East, our own foreign offices, our embassies, it is so unbelievable that they don't speak about this. And I think as a professional body, we need to challenge also some of the roles of our foreign offices. For instance, Kenya, as I mentioned, one of the largest import of Kenya's tea is Egypt. They don't have a representative that would do even, public relations on Kenya's tea and monitor how it's being presented and where and with whom. They don't do that. So we have a long road to go. And I believe that the opportunities are there. It is about resources, not only money. We often tend to think that money is needed. It's about also the competencies, the willingness of our people to go an extra mile and take the benefit of the doubt and prove ourselves. Sometimes I think, people tell me, well, Africa is like this, they're unreliable, they're this, which can be true. But I say, give me the benefit of the doubt. And
that's right.
Now when I go to a place, everybody say, Wallahi, Elizabeth is good, just give her the chance. So we have to humble ourselves, believe me. We have to go to the lower road to get to the higher avenue, as I say. That we need to prove ourselves. We need to take that extra mile. Sometimes people think that maybe it's intimidating and all that. We have to accept that we have not had the chance to prove what we are capable of. And those who might have had the chance failed to do so. So we have a chance to do that. So personally, as I said, the opportunities are there. We must believe in ourselves. We must believe that there is growing, actually, right now. Sometimes some things are a blessing in disguise. For example, the war within Russia and Ukraine. And now in the Middle East.
The wheat.
Africa has become very interesting for now. Even a few weeks ago, the Foreign Office of Saudi Arabia came to Kenya. Now Bahrain is planning to come to Kenya. UAE is planning to come to Kenya because they are realizing that there is a lot of risk to be too dependent on only one source or one, because the world has now growing, what can I say, conflict. And Africa is now, even the Middle East, they were shocked when I spoke in Bahrain. I said, do you know that avocados do not grow in Holland? Do you know that tea do not grow in Germany? But then it is the 7th largest exporter of tea globally.
Yeah, getting from Africa.
How does it work? Switzerland is enriched. I used to work for the largest cocoa processing company, Barry Callebaut, and for 5 years in Switzerland. And they got their cocoa from Ivory Coast, from Western Africa. We had a conference once. I asked them, why can't you produce the chocolate in West Africa? Do you know what they said? And it could be true. They said nobody trusts the quality from Africa.
We're going to change that. We're going to change that. Don't worry.
And one thing, for example, a few months ago, there was a scandal in Kenya about the government giving fake fertilizer. One of the sheikhs came to me and said, Wallahi, Elizabeth, the last thing you can do as a sinner is to fake food. Because in the Middle East, when you do something wrong, let's say you even steal or whatever, the first thing they ask is, was this person hungry? Was this person thirsty? So these are some of the things that we have to challenge our institutions. The moment institutions cannot be trusted, even my product, I am doing the last processing in Bahrain because they would not trust packaged tortillas in Kenya. So what I did is, okay, I will take the pre-processed and I will fry and package in Bahrain, because then they will create that trust. So we still have a long way to go, but we have to be tactical and we have to be very cognizant that we have to go the humble road to get to the high avenue.
Thank you so much. We've gone past the top of Dr. Crossan, you're welcome. We actually, our main anchor has to go, and I would have to step away for a second. Nia, so if you can just buy me, like, can you buy 10 minutes? Because I need to do something before you leave. Can you afford 10 minutes?
Well, I know the family, the children, the kids are.
Okay, just give us 10 minutes, please. I'll play the anthem at the end. So we're not going to do it at the top of the hour, but next week we're going to be talking about the roles of mothers in the home, in the community, and in the nation. So Nia Song, just give me, or let me just mute for a few minutes. As soon as I come back, I'll let you know so you can go. Okay? Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. So over to you, Nia.
You're welcome to the show. I know you're late today.
All right. I'm going to step away for a second.
Okay, I know, Dr. Crossley, you certainly have some questions for our guests. We're talking women CEOs. She's a CEO based in Bahrain, but she's from Kenya, and she has been telling us a lot of interesting things. Where did she go? Okay, Dr. Crossley, a question or remark about women CEOs?
I like women CEOs. I'm a CEO myself, and I feel that for me, that it's a 24/7 job, and everything I do and balancing real work and giving back to the community and taking care of my own mental health and wellness, it is a full-time job, and I don't keep it separate. It's a lot easier for me if I work my plan and keep it going that way instead of working 4 hours here, 4 hours there. It's better if I can just put everything together. Now, what I do are like my books. So I have books and binders that are organized. So if the guest speaker wants to talk about how she organizes, that would be great.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I think, as you have said, sister, that, you know, we have multitude of roles and responsibilities. As much as you're CEO, you're still a mother, you're still a sister, cousin, and especially in our African environment, you belong to the village and the community. So there's a lot of demands. So I think one of the things that I have managed to do is really to trust my team, to be able to learn to delegate and to trust and empower your team to be able to take up some of the roles or responsibilities that you may not necessarily be able to undertake, and to create a balance in your life. So that is one of the things. And I was speaking the other day about the role of the family. Having a supportive family is very important. Ensuring that they are, they are your ambassadors. They're convinced in what you're doing. For me, my business is almost like a calling. It's because I'm so passionate. It's about the heritage and legacy of my family. So I can easily be emotionally entangled with it. So learning to delegate is very important. And trusting people and allowing others to be able to support your dream or aspirations. Now, the other thing that I try to do to really manage all these responsibilities is to plan and organize and be able to anticipate the workload or any potential challenges or risks. So really managing that by ensuring that you have documentation, proper scheduling, or a good calendar. These are the minimum, administrative aspect of being a CEO, because you want to focus on the vision. You are the vision or the mission bearer. So you want to make sure that your people really understand it and are converted, so that you are relieved in ensuring that, because the execution is the most important element of the business. So you want to make sure that you have the right people on board. Another element also is that I try to keep myself strong, because a lot of this, especially at an early stage, I'm at an early stage right now of building my business in the Middle East. So what I need to do is to ensure that I'm part and parcel of the process, and ensuring that the people that I work with are also feeling equally affiliated. So really making sure that the people around you are empowered, are enabled, and facilitated to support and ensure that you have a good work-life balance. And I think finally also ensuring that you manage your resources so that you relieve yourself from that pressure. But again, at the end of the day, I think that these are the realities of being a CEO. There is a lot of pressure on it. There's demands, there's expectations. And also for me, being an African woman, I feel like I must show, I must demonstrate, I must be exemplary, so that other people will easily be given the chance in this role. So I remember even when working for General Motors, I felt like I needed to go beyond, so that I can build trust for others, so that where any other Black woman or any other woman that comes along, that they can be given the benefit of the doubt, because I may have demonstrated that women are equally equally able and capable to do what men also do. one of the things also, I did a presentation at one time, and I said that men and women don't need to be the same, because women have actually capabilities as much as men have. It's about constellation. It's about a composition, bringing those capabilities that women have to the workplace or to the, the situations to complement one another. I think that there is often this kind of push and pull that women feel that I must act like a man, I must be, we have competencies that really men don't have, and men have what we've made, and we don't have to have them because the workplace is so complex, it's so dynamic, it's so fluid, that requires really various aspects of competencies. So I would say, I hope, my sister, that I've been, I've answered to your satisfaction about being able to balance the work-life balance, your personal, private, to make sure that you are enjoying what you do. For me, when I'm working, I feel so good because it's about my dream, it's about my aspirations. So it's kind of not an effort. It's just a question of maximizing and optimizing the time I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm back. I just,
okay.
yeah, yes.
I wanted to say one thing, that because I manage like at a 24th century perspective, at first when you started speaking, I was like, oh wow, she's a real CEO. And I was about ready to throw in the towel and give up. And then I dug down real deep and looked at my qualities, and I'm really advanced. So, and I thank God for showing me that I manage at a 24th century level, futuristic. I'm always looking for what's different. What can we add that we haven't had beyond research and development? So for young people, for example, we think we want to mentor them. So now moving forward to the 24th century, we want to actually do reverse mentoring, where the young people can mentor the CEOs. And when I first experienced that and saw what it actually looked like, they were ready. And I think us CEOs need to position ourselves so that we can learn from other people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Crosslin. And Sister Ruth, you have anything to weigh in before we? Sister Ruth, the mic is yours.
Hi, before we, okay. Hi, I'm home now and I'm seated so I can have my camera on. It's good to see you all. When it comes to being a CEO, no matter what we're doing, because my first love is God. So whatever I'm doing it with him. And if I'm doing it with him, there are no competitors for me. I think we've bought into the lie of competition. We bought into the lie, don't trust those people. And it's those things that we have to break those chains and break those curses and break those strongholds that say that women can't get along, or you can't trust an African, or you can't trust her, because we need to be the ones that get it started, not the ones talking about the problem, but saying, here's a solution. And a solution is for us to get to know one another, for us to have one-to-one conversations, for us to have collaborations where we come together and say, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And then figure out how we can bring all that together to work together. People want to work with people they know, like, and trust. And then you get to a place where you want to work with a certain caliber of person. And in our businesses, sometimes we shrink back, or we go lower because someone says my price is too high. And then we begin to believe the lie. We start devaluing what we have, the gift that God has given us in making chips, or in making, teaching people how to. Why are we devaluing the gift that God gave us? And why don't we start celebrating? I celebrate all of you that are on this call today, all of you, because you're worth celebrating. And I just think it's been so long that we've heard these stories. And maybe 100 years ago, there was an African that did something that was sketchy, and 100 years later, we're still based on a story from 100 years ago from one sketchy person. Because there's sketchy people in every race, every religion, every country. So not to do business with you because you're of a certain race or a certain country is ridiculous. I'm grateful to the mother that I have. My mother raised us to look at the person, each person, not their race, not their gender, none of that. We looked at the person. And I'm just grateful for you ladies that are here today. Let us just learn to love one another. And the only way we can build trust is to spend time with one another. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Debbie. It's always a pleasure. Sister Ruth, it's always a pleasure, please. Thank you very much. And I think we're going to take a round of the table. We're going to start with Debbie, please. Debbie, come back. I see you're unmuted, please. Yeah, please unmute, and then please give us your last word, because we're trying to begin to wrap up. So give us your last word.
Thank you very much, Niason. Dada Elizabeth, asante sana. I just want to say, based on all what I've heard from you today, the Brain Bank is so fortunate to have you to do what you have to do coming up in the next couple of weeks. And, it's the mindset, from what I see, it's a mindset of any individual, any society, and any community, and any family on what they do. If you are of the same mindset based on what you're talking regarding the relationship of no public relations in the embassies, if everybody is on the same side and they have the same mindset, what your dreams are will be accomplished without any further implications. But if everyone is thinking differently and they don't gear towards the same goal, that's what I think will be an issue there. But you are doing the right thing by educating and talking to the right forums and being on the right platforms at the right time. Thank you. It was an honor listening to you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Crosland, your last word before we begin to close the show. Dr. Crosland, your last word.
In retrospect of what I was speaking about, I take risk as a woman CEO. For example, one of my neighbors, they're domestic engineers. They are CEOs of their households. They manage them quite well. So taking risk, we do it every day in business. And I was having brunch, a moment ago, and the two ladies sitting at the next table were very loud. They're from Togo. And so I introduced myself to them. That was a risk, because I had to explain to them, I know that they are loud because they are accomplished. And I asked them, did they speak French? And they were so happy that I understood that English is their second language, although they haven't been to Africa since they were little. But my whole point is I had to take the risk of them accepting me. And now they're going to be my best friends. So I'll get to share with them what I learned from here and hopefully invite them here, because they are some beautiful women. And I'm the poster child for love. That I'm an expert on. And as a CEO, I think that's what we need. love, we need to take risks, and we need to manage like we're in the 24th century. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I learned that when people throw stones at you, pick them up and build bridges with those stones. Don't take them and throw them back. Take them, build bridges. That said, let's see, Sister Ruth, I know you were talking a while ago, but I know you've not yet said your last word. Your last word on this show today, please.
Well, the last word is trust God in all that you do. Because he says to commit your thoughts to him and your plans will be established. There is no plan without God. There's no, God wants you to succeed in everything you do. Everything you commit to him, you will succeed. But when we start talking about, well, this person and that person and the government and they're stopping, how can anybody stop God's plan? You may hit a
try. They won't succeed.
You might hit a bump, but nobody anywhere can stop God's plan from moving forward. And when things come up, I have to remind myself, God's got me. God has your business.
That's right.
God has it all. So I fret not. You can tell me whatever the government may be doing, they're not God.
That's right.
Your Highness, your last word.
Yes, thank you so much, Sister Ruth. Thank you, Dr. Crossley. Thank you, Sister Debbie. Thank you, Sister Elizabeth. Can't wait to meet you in New York finally, you know. And we are going to make things happen, I can assure you. That's what the Brain Bank is all about. For the women CEO out there, I've been fortunate to be a serial CEO in both the nonprofit and for-profit organizations. I've seen it all, done a lot of work in Africa and the US, none in Europe yet, but it's coming, you know, and I think we're going to be having our footprints in Bahrain too, thanks to our sister Elizabeth, and we're going to facilitate your entrance into the US and other African countries. You know, we have a strong foothold in Ghana and Nigeria. We've been registered in Nigeria since 2021. We had our event there last December, and there are more than 230 million people there. They can consume all the tortillas that you make. And you're going to be bringing some samples to New York, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. So I want to encourage every woman CEO out there, know that you are the best person for the job. Don't let anybody put you down. Don't let anybody degrade you. Don't let anybody dilute you. Don't let anybody discourage you. And like Sister Ruth say, you know, God's got you. In Hebrews 13:5, he say, he will never leave you nor forsake you. So I am so glad we did this show. May is dedicated to women and June to men. So we want to encourage all our women. And if you are a woman CEO, I will encourage you to go to africasbrainbank.org. I've put the ticket link there and register so you get to meet our amazing sister Elizabeth. Our main anchor, Mr. Songlefan Kemleke, will also be getting an award, a Lifetime Achievement Award for his volunteer work here on AfricaOnline from the US presidency. And we're also going to be honoring some amazing African descendants. This will be Africa's Brain Bank Awards now from around the globe. You know, I'm not going to mention the names yet. We're going to be updating the flyer soon, you know, with confirmed speakers. We're going to be discussing brain drain and the solution to brain drain, which is the brain bank. So I want to, I dove my hat off to all the women CEO out there in Cameroon. They say cut you cafe. So that's a salute, you know. So just be encouraged. If you need help, reach out. We would see how we can help you. If you need a road block, or you're looking for a consultant or an attorney or any area where you need help with, you reach out to, go to africasbrainbank.org or email us at info@africasbrainbank.org. If we don't have that particular competency in our system, we will find you one. But I can assure you, we'll probably most likely have it. So thank you so much. We have to encourage our people. We have enough buying power to even support each other. So if business is slow, don't feel bad. When the pandemic came, people thought that it was the end of the world. I was fortunate to have moved my business virtual in 2017. I started using Zoom, not knowing pandemic was coming, but I encourage other people. I said, get on this platform and do your business virtually. And life, I don't think we'll ever go back to the pre-pandemic stage. I think we're going to keep a hybrid a lifestyle going forward. So thank you all so much, Sister Elizabeth. Thank you once more. Nia, so over to you.
Sister Elizabeth, we cannot let you go just like that. You have to give us your last word before you go, please.
Okay. Thank you so much, brother, and everybody, Dr. Pam. We have had such a long connections already for quite since I think a few years ago now. I am really, really humbled again to be here. I thank you all for giving me this really profound attention and the opportunity to share my ideas and thoughts. Just on a final note, I want to thank you, my other sisters that have spoken. I think that these platforms are amazing because we can all share our experiences, our aspirations, convictions. I think these kind of platforms need to be more and more available so that we can challenge each other. We can share the experiences, as my sister said earlier. We need to be open-minded. Being a woman CEO is not the easiest. We have a lot of challenges, expectations. The threshold for women is very high, based on my experience. The expectations, we need to excel at all levels. So I think that we are capable. I am very convinced that women have something special to offer this new world order because the world has changed. We're not anymore in the traditional setups. The current environment really requires diverse mindsets, different approaches, different ways of looking at things. I think, and personally, I believe women have a lot to offer to make a better world. Personally, I think that to succeed, you must be convinced, you must have almost a calling, and you are ready to really do the best you can. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. I look forward to the conference, my sister. I'm already really preparing and really researching what we can bring and share with our people. So I look forward to another session. May you all be blessed. Thank you, my sister, for emphasizing the role of God in our lives and even in our businesses, because it gives us the framework, it gives us the standards, because today there's so many temptations to have integrity, to be trustworthy. These are pillars that are basically part and parcel of our religious and spiritual well-being that can really keep us strong and focused in the right things that we need to do. So thank you all. God bless, and look forward to catching up again very soon. And I would say welcome to Bahrain. I look forward to welcoming.
Oh yes, definitely.
Bring your businesses to Bahrain. It's an amazing region, to be very honest. And women now have a lot of opportunities there. The governments are supporting, for example, myself. Once I put up my factory, the government will refund 50% of the, factory investment.
Oh my God, that is awesome.
It's amazing. And for example, they go to the supermarkets. They say, give her the best position in the supermarket, the entrance. They will support in being a security. They're setting up exhibitions for women projects. It's amazing what they are doing in that region. So welcome, God bless, and talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.
You so
Next week, we're still talking about women, especially the role of women in society, in the community. So please, if you feel free, if you can make it between 4 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. Washington time, please make it possible. They call it Eastern Daylight Time or whatever. So please, thank you all very much. Sister Elizabeth, thank you very much for your readiness to participate. Every one of us, please, let us make it happen. Africa is waiting.